Yo, what's going on, guys? Coach Vic here. Welcome back to another episode of the FBP Podcast. In this week's episode, we're going to be talking about practice versus games, why we can perform so well in a practice setting, but then once game time rolls around, everything falls apart. Let's get into it. Okay, guys, so reason number one behind why we perform better in practice versus games is our mindsets are different from practice to games. Okay, so in practice, we have a practice mindset. In games, we have a game mindset. Okay, and so what are the differences? Well, practice, obviously, because it is not a game, there's less pressure. Right? Failing is just not on the forefront of our mind. So we're not as fearful of failing in practice, right? Seems pretty obvious. Makes sense. The difference is with a game mindset, we're focused more on the outcome or the results. Okay. So now all of a sudden we have something's on the line. We can make an out. We can strike out. We can fail, lose the game, etc. So essentially, it's what we are focused on in practice and what we are focused on in games. Practice, of course, it's more structured. It's very specific to what it is that we're working on, whether it's a team practice or if it's an individual training where you're having a hitting session, a hitting practice with a coach or with a trainer. We're doing a very specific task or trying to accomplish a specific goal in that current moment. So the goal of that moment could be, let's say, working on, getting into our back hip and controlling our forward move. Okay, maybe that's something that we would be highlighting in a particular drill. Therefore, we can focus more on executing that drill and not so much on the result. Okay, and again, even in practice, this is also another issue, is when you start to think about the result instead of the process. So it makes it very difficult to achieve what it is we're working on to get better at it when you're focused on the result. Because again, the target has shifted. In a game, of course, we want to aim for high quality contact, barrel contact. But let's say we're doing a drill off of the tee and we are still hitting a ball. I don't want you too concerned about the ball. The ball is almost like a formality. It's just there because, well, this is baseball, and depending on the level of the player, I'm going to put the ball on the tee for them to do the drill and hit the ball at the same time. But what they don't always realize is that what's more important than what the ball does is getting the feeling of putting your body either in a certain position or a certain movement, whatever that is that we're working on in that moment is top priority. Okay, so what are some examples of process in practice? Drills, tee work, working on fundamentals. Whether if you're hitting, maybe it's like, hey, get a good pitch here, put a good swing on it. Stay back, stay through. So like those types of cues that are going on in our mind, and that's where our focus is very much more so in the process versus, the example of an outcome would be like, you got to get a hit here. Oh man, I don't strike out. Right? You see how everything is focused on an outcome, but yet when you focus on the outcome, you're missing out on the steps that you have to take in order to get the quality, the positive result that we want. So when we're focused too heavily on the outcome during a game and then we don't get that result that we want, that causes us to tense up, right? We stop trusting our ability and we're focused more so on the fact that we didn't achieve that result. And what that does to the body is we get tight. We get tense, we're stressing, and causes us to get into a fight or flight mode. When you're trying to do something that requires a lot of skill, fight or flight isn't a great place to be in. And so getting tight, feeling stressed, this can lead to skill regression. So all the skills that we worked on in practice, we're not actually able to translate them into competition because where we are focused in that moment, where we are focused during games. And so, and again, everything comes back to being in control of yourself. To help you get in control of yourself, I created a free guide that you can download. Check that out. I'll guide you step by step how to take control of yourself in game situations. If you're able to do this, you're able to control your approach. You're able to control your plan. You're able to control the pitches that you swing at, right? You're going to be in control of your mind and therefore in control of your body. Okay. And so that is the foundation of all mental skills, and the purpose of all mental skills is to be in control of yourself in the moment. Without being in control, you have nothing. All the work that you've done in practice and training goes completely out the window if you go into games and your mind is not in the right place. Don't waste your time. Don't let all your training, all your money spent on equipment, on trainers, don't let it go to waste because you can't get in control of yourself come game time. So download the link in the description, watch it on YouTube, listening on Spotify, click the link in the show notes, or go to ferrantebaseball.net/free guide. Something to think about. The purpose of practice is to practice your process. Say that 10 times fast. Okay, reason number 2 why we struggle to go from practice to games. We're simply not present. Okay, we're not playing in the moment. And so what does that mean, being present? Okay, so the simplest way that I can describe this is, let's think about, put things in perspective. We have a past, okay? We have a future, okay? Those are all just ideas, okay? So I'm gonna get a little profound here, a little deep. But the past, yes, it happened. It doesn't exist anymore. It is nothing but a memory. Hence why someone could damage their brain in an accident and forget their past. It's just information that is stored in our minds. Okay. And obviously that's an oversimplification of it all, but essentially that's what it is. Okay. I want to give you an example of what it is to be present. We've all experienced this before. Have you ever been to a party or a concert, some kind of really fun event, and you're having so much fun that the time just absolutely disappears? Or you're doing anything for that matter. Maybe you're also into art or music or any other activity where you can do it and time simply disappears. And you look up all of a sudden and 2-3 hours have gone by and it felt like it was 20-30 minutes. Okay, that is being present. Okay, your thoughts and your focus are not in the past. They're not in the future. Thinking about process is very much in the present moment. You see, if I think about how I am moving my body in that very instant, that is putting my focus on the present. It is happening right now, okay? If I'm thinking about outcomes, okay, outcomes can be past. I could be thinking of past outcomes. Well, I just struck out 2 times. I just rolled over once. That's in the past. So if you're focused on that, it's affecting you're missing everything that's going on in the present. The present moment is where you perform to your potential. Okay? It's also called the zone. So when you're getting in the zone, you are present. This is why when things are clicking and we are going our best and you don't even know why things are clicking. Think about what it is that you're thinking about when you're clicking. Across the board, there's no exceptions to this. Most people are going to say nothing. I'm just playing. I'm just seeing the ball. I'm hitting the ball, catching the ball, throwing the ball. That's it. Because you are in the present moment and you're allowing your body to react and respond to the game in the way that you trained it to. So past, not going to work. Okay. Because often, most of the time when we think about the past, it's negative. Okay. Thinking about the future. Oh, I got to get a hit here. If I don't get a hit here, I'm going to be my batting average is going to go down. You're in the future too much. Okay. You're not using it in a way that's going to be effective in the present moment. Okay. So some examples. So again, kind of very similar to the first reason, but the practice mindset is more so thinking in the moment, right? It's thinking about what is happening right now, what I'm trying to get my body to do right now. Helps us get into a present moment. Outcome thinking takes us to the future or past. Okay. Once again, it takes us away from the moment, takes you away from your potential. So when we are in the present moment, we're able to move freely, right? We are not attaching ourselves. We're not attaching ourselves to the past, to the future. We can operate on full capacity in the present moment. This will allow our instincts to come out on the field as we've trained them to do. Again, feel versus real is another kind of element that kind of falls into this. Is if you think about it, the real, ironically, is not real, because the real is kind of more of like a result. And so if you're thinking about the result too much, you miss the feel. So this is another thing, a reason why feel versus real and the whole kind of debate about it is that people are making is just kind of off. Feeling keeps you in the present. Having a feel in the box keeps you present, which is where your potential is. So that's why it's all relative and it's all subjective. How you feel and what the feel you need to create is right then and there. That helps you get the result. And that is all that matters. And that's why you hear so many of the best players ever talking about feel, because that's what keeps them present. They can't be thinking about the last at-bat, what their launch angle was and exit velocity, or what the next exit velocity and launch angle is going to be on this next one. They have to focus on a feel so that they can stay present and they can execute. The third reason is the quality of our practice. Okay, deliberate practice. We don't want to be going out in the cage or on the field and taking mindless reps. Okay, there has to be a specific purpose. And most of the time, this is going to happen, obviously, when kids are on their own. When they're with me or with another trainer or with their trainer or whoever, they're going to be guided through their training session. Okay, most players I see when they're training on their own, it is very clear. They have zero purpose, zero target. Training with a purpose and intent, that you have a target that you are trying to hit or a specific area that you're focused on improving in that session. Okay, then we got the volume, the quantity. Okay, you hear people say quality over quantity. Yes, very true. Quality first. Once you get the quality dialed in, now it's time to up the quantity. Watch big leaguers. Watch them in the cage. Again, granted, you don't see the full hitting session in the cage, but I'm telling you right now, big league hitters, the best hitters in the world, even myself at times, when I was back and playing, when I was in the full swing of things, pun intended, hundreds, thousands of swings in a week. Thousands of swings in a week. Okay. Could my quality have been better? Yeah, absolutely, 100%. Could I have had more intent, more intentional, more intent and more purpose? Heck yeah. So some of the best players, though, guys that I noticed, and I didn't click back then, but I remember now when I think back, they had intention. They had a specific area of their swing or whatever it was they were doing, could be fielding, could be whatever, and they're working on it. And that's what you see. You see some of the best players in the world doing the most simple fundamentals and simplest moves over and over and over and over again, hundreds, thousands of times. That is called deliberate practice. We need to implement deliberate practice into our training. Okay. So this is how your deliberate practice, now you're practicing a move, a body move, a fielding, some kind of fundamental of the game, of your game. And now once you go into the game, we got to learn to be present. We got to learn to be focused. We got to be focused on the right thing, focus on the process that's going to get us the results versus going to the game. And now we shift gears and now all we're thinking about is results. It's not going to work. You got to think in the process. You got to be in the moment. Download my free guide. The link is in the description. If you're watching on YouTube, listening on Apple or Spotify, you can go to ferrantebaseball.net/free guide. Thanks, guys. I'll see you in the next one.